penalize that person that's lived there for 30 years because they need to upgrade their electrical service in the house? That stuff like that just don't make sense to me, guys.
That's why we're discussing it.
And we'll tag that because it's a valid point.
And I think the idea of if we get it, if it goes outside of the building, that may be a reasonable way to go.
Some reason, we've got a January, deadline for the county commission to vote on this. We run it, the point I was trying to make a few minutes ago, we're running out of time if this is gonna get shoved, and we can't continue, we have to get this kind of stuff fixed.
Right.
This is very detrimental to people, Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, and I agree with the deadline being kind of ominous.
Yeah, but it's a target date. It is not a deadline. And that is a difference.
Yeah,
It's a major difference.
yeah, we've had some setbacks with the hurricanes and storms and people out, and we're a working group, by the way, all of us have a job to do.
Absolutely. And,
So-
hey, and I commend every person that's worked on this. I have no issue with anybody that's worked on this whatsoever. And I'm not trying to be, negative to any person that's worked on it. But the fact is, none of us are professionals. We'll
Well-
still find issues with this thing 5 or 6 years down the road. And the mid,
And if you send this out to a-
Work on that, or architects and engineers.
And if you send it to an outside firm, they're gonna be issues with it because no document is perfect.
I can tell you a scenario right now I'm dealing with.
It's a future scenario,
Look,
Neil.
I can tell you right now, I'm having an issue right now. Ellis Marine burnt down. I tore it down 2 years ago. We applied for a building permit. We've got to spend roughly $20,000 to have the slab engineered.
But that's not what I said. It's in this proposed ordinance. You will not be punished. You will not be penalized for building back on your same footprint. In the proposed
And that says that,
ordinance.
and that says that. in the-
It will say that in the ordinance. You'll get to read it with your own 2 eyes.
It's 5 years for everything.
Complexes. How many, parking spaces are required today per door?
Two.
How many in the new proposal?
It depends on number of bedrooms. If it's multifamily, if it's a 1-bedroom, 1.5. If it's a 2-bedroom, it's 1.7. If it's a 3-bedroom, 2. 4 bedrooms and larger, it would be 2 spaces per dwelling plus 1 for each bedroom over 4. Now, you don't have a lot of apartments with more than 4 bedrooms.
Yes, sir.
So, no more onerous than it is today.
Well, it's
Comment about the tree ordinance, briefly, and when it came up, it was, 12 was always a lot, and it's a lot to put on a developer, where he's gotta plant all these trees for all these lots, and they don't know what person's gonna build what kind of house anywhere. Little research I did, really it was probably closer to 7 or a tad under that. Full-grown oak trees, that would consume an acre, so we looked at reducing it to 8.
I'm in the land clearing business. We just went through a big project with the city. We protected trees like I've never had to protect trees ever. I just went today, and probably 50 or 60% of them is dead. Anytime you change the elevation, anytime you change the underbrush, anytime you change anything, that tree is more than likely going to die.
And you know that I know that.
Yes,
as well.
sir. It's more
And,
than likely it's going to happen.
So-
You can't protect it. I don't know why it does it. It just takes.
mitigation.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Neal, one other question. When we talk about tree ordinance, we only talk about St. Simon's Island, correct? So, this is the kind of stuff that just sticks to me for some reason. So a live oak tree in West Glenn County is not as important as a live oak tree on St. Simon's. I don't understand that, okay? But with that being said, we got too many trees on St. Simon's Island now. We got more trees there than we ever had. They're killing people.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Yeah, they kill them.
And,
We need less tree canopy on St. Simon's
But
Island.
you know, and
It'd
I
be more
know
beautiful that way.
the pressure on the main.
Yeah.
And it's in response to citizen outcry. It's the reason that it's being considered. Thank God, we live out in the county.
Yes, sir.
And we don't have that same pressure.
Big majority of trees on St. Simon's are unhealthy because they're too close together and too tight.
Still,
They're dying left
no
and right.
argument, but let's try to stay the point.
Trees on a lot is the homeowner responsible for replacing trees?
I would be in favor of, if it's an act of God, it's an act of God. So if we've got an act of God in,
I
you
was
know,
thinking you have some elderly
Absolutely.
person on fixed income and.
yes, absolutely.
Yes, they own their house, but all of a sudden we're telling them that they have to come in and replant all the trees. Got us to think more about grandfathering a lot of things in that are gonna penalize. If I come in and I buy a new piece of property, but if I've had a piece of property for a while and everything around it has been able to do this, and then we're gonna basically penalize them just because they waited, you know, like you said.
Yeah. And I can tell you that is not the intent.
Right.
So if we find that, it's reviewable.
I think
The better good. And I'm a property rights advocate. I believe strongly in highest and best use rights of the property owner. But in ensuring the property rights of the owner of 101 Main Street, you can't impinge upon the rights of 103 Main Street. And that's what we're trying to find the balance of to protect the properties, because we know that we have.
Every time I bring something up, it seems like somebody, for whatever reason, says, oh, this is a living, breathing document. We can change it at will. Could you tell me the process of how it would be changed?
All right, you've got a situation where you're coming in to pull a building permit for an investor somewhere or a homeowner. You've got a contract house to build, and you come in and you find something in the code that is different and damaging to that homeowner. You would bring it to a staff to look at it. We're gonna develop an expedited route to get that issue addressed.
So we don't have that now.
Yeah, no.
We've got something similar. It's a slow moving process. It's slower moving than what it was. And what we have now is a different culture on how we're gonna address things.
So it doesn't have to be noticed to the public. It doesn't have to go before the Island Planning Commission, the mainland planning.
I'm not gonna say without exception it would. What I'm saying is we're trying to devise the expedited process so that it doesn't delay you unreasonably in trying to solve the problem that was inadvertently make overall. We're not gonna solve everybody's problem.
Commissioner, these are laws. The ordinances are laws. And I find it very hard to believe that legally, we just gonna be able to change laws.
I didn't say we could do it with the stroke of a pen. I said we can expedite the process.
Without public notice and public hearings.
Well, we have done it many times.
Change ordinances
In my,
and amend ordinances
Regularly?
pretty regularly, yes.
pretty regularly, not every commission meeting,
Right.
certainly not, but multiple times a year, we'll amend an ordinance.
Yeah,
And we've been doing it.
To do the constitutional review for these elected officials, but also they are expanding that scope of work to review it from